jabbered at the camera for a while. Why not? I had a few possible topics. One of them being theory. The Ori. Maybe theory just means the oration. Ori, I don't know. Maybe theory just means talking. I have a theory that theories are mainly made by lonely nerds. Also, if you think about the philosophers of old, these guys are mainly defended by philosophy graduates who are working at Starbucks because they're working at Starbucks. Theory does have application. It does. I'm not just talking shit on theory. I like theory. I'm always yammering away myself about whatever. But something that I noticed in my personal life is that I tend to theorize mostly when, and you can check for yourself if you see any people hiding in here. I don't think there's anybody hiding in here. There might be some of Steven's light elves hanging around. I don't know. But I tend to talk to myself or talk to my little electronic box here when I'm not having company with real human beings. And this is not to say that I don't like theorizing when I'm with real human beings, because I like that too. But that's not a rule. That's not what has to happen. Many things can happen when you're actually, you know, in good company. So theories tend to be expositions of the lonely. Or, that's not the only purpose for theories. Theories are also for tools for madmen. The lonely guys theorizing about how to talk to women they're not generally the ones that are going and utilizing that knowledge to talk to women. They're still lonely. The power-hungry madman has, you know, bullied the information out of the lonely nerd, and the lonely nerd is still a lonely nerd. And the power-hungry madman is now utilizing that information to, you know, take over worlds and stuff like that. So as far as theorizing goes, for theorizing's purpose, it's for the lonely. As well, theory is embedded in, it's firmly entrenched in the scientific method, because that's the first step of the scientific method. So make a theory. Put forth a theory. Theories also presuppose a static universe, or one with immutable laws. Theories don't presuppose that you live in a dream world that's malleable by your very thoughts. So, from the outset, when you have theoreticians mixed with, what's the word? psychological objectivist or something. I don't remember the word. But the word for those that believe in Alan Watts', ceramic model of the universe, or the one that very definitely doesn't change under your very fingertips, and very definitely has a knowable structure, and that is shared by the majority of the population. When you mix these objectivists with the dreamers, and they try to come together and have some sort of a consensus reality agreement, it doesn't work as well. And then you come to the spot where, let's agree to disagree and let's all get along and yada yada yada, which never happens. Because there always seem to be power-hungry madmen, and there always seem to be lonely theoreticians who are willing to get paid by the power-hungry madmen, so the power-hungry madmen can utilize that to grab more power and continue being fuckfaces. It has been quiet in the realm, personally, and from what seeps into me from the outside. But for me, a lot of it has to do with I'm placing more value on actual human interaction than talking to myself on the electronic gadgetry, because I'm less inclined to do so when I'm hanging out with real people. And also, I have a bed for roughly a week. Strange times when things are less stable for me. I'm less inclined to talk on this thing. Which is not to say that I'm not going to keep talking on this thing. I just might not be doing it quite as often. I don't know. I don't schedule out these events. Blood moons, fires everywhere, political unrest. Donald Trump is completely doing a bad version of Orwell's doublespeak. But I mean, the point is that this realm is literally a show. It's supposed to be a show, and for whatever reason, if you want to put it in metaphors, it's like, you're at the theater, and the stage itself has been, maybe taken up residence by psychic termites. Okay, you can't see them, but they're affecting the brainwaves of all the actors and the directors, so the play looks really shitty. So that might be an apt description of what could possibly be happening here. I don't know for sure. I just know that the show itself has been altered in a way that makes it even more of a show, depending on your perspective and your show expectations. Because at some point, if there's a bunch of people in the theater and all of the actors and directors are getting psychically influenced by telepathic termites, then the audience at some point is either going to get up and walk out, of the arena, or they're gonna decide that perhaps they can themselves include themselves in the show in some way, shape, or form. Oh my God, it's hot. And that's always been the thing here, is like, no, this is real life, guys. This is not a show. That's the first thing that the fundamentally religious will tell you, as well as the, I still can't remember that term. Something objectivists. I don't think it's logical objectivists. I don't remember. The ceramic model people. Both of those factions will tell you that you're not supposed to be doing anything other than seeing this as really real. And if you do, we'll show you it's real. Because we have places for people like you. Like, you know, mental institutes, jails, ostracization by peers. You know, and then you get into the gang stalking thing if you're one of those unfortunate ones. So there's a lot of energy running around, and has been in the past up until this point, that very much restricts the actors from playing. And that is one of the parts that, of course, unravels at some point along the line. And, you know, theory turns into reality. And when you have multitudes of theories running around, and there are lots of different, you know, co-creative beings here who have the ability to enact change upon the scene when enough, when the stars align and properly, then the thing goes bang, you know? So I think we're setting up for that. We're setting up for the thing to go bang, and, you know, who knows? Who knows exactly how it's going to go bang? Maybe it won't. Maybe it will stay quiet forever. Who knows? I don't know. All this talk of theories reminds me of that band called Theory of a Dead Man. It's like a... At some point you have to start living, you know? You have to start actually interacting with your environment, with the other people. If you think everybody around you is a robot, then go find the few that aren't robots and do something. I'm doing it, you know. I'm running around and meeting up with real flesh and blood people and doing things. And then I put it here on the YouTubes, and hopefully it inspires all of you guys and girls and, you know, ghosts and aliens, whoever is able to tune in to do things. If I could liken it to a chess game, which I like to do because I like chess, there is in chess something called theory. There is. And it's very, very relevant to the game, one would think. Because they talk about theory a lot. If you're listening to a couple GMs discussing another GM game, then they're talking about theory. The theory is like the tree, right? It's like this tree that you have inside of your mind that kind of stays roughly similar to itself. It doesn't change a lot, but the tree is also, you know, made out of Legos, and you have Legos in your pocket, and you can add on to the branches of it. It's not as easy to add on to the trunk of the tree, because it's buried underneath shit tons of other Legos. And if you're sitting there putting Legos on the ends of the branches, say in a weird-ass configuration that people who like to study those particular branches have never seen before, there's also the possibility of conning the person who's examining that particular branch, and depending on your psychological abilities of convincing, you might be able to convince them that this is simply the way that these branches are going now. So there's, of course, even in theory, even at the Grandmaster level, it's there as a metric or a guideline or a foundation, still changing foundation. It's not ever stagnant, unless you think it's stagnant. But there are many other factors involved than the tree itself. And at some point, you know, the whole Lego tree might just bust up, and then you'll find out that the Lego tree was covering up some other more fundamental tree, like the sun simulator and the real sun, if you're down with that type of thing. The metaphors always work subjectively, as you wish, as each individual is comfortable with applying them or not. Even if your current worldview is composed of aphorisms and theories, any one of them can take it and be like, nah. It just depends on how susceptible you are to having your theory be remolded by somebody else. It could be, one of your aphorisms could be, dead men tell no tales, and that's a real a staunch foundation of your life. And then somebody else will say, well, hey man, that's not true at all. That's utter bullshit. We have stories coming back from the dead in so many different ways, it's mind-boggling. And we have the NDEs. And we have people with their ghost experiences. We have mediums that you know, let the crowd know that they're now speaking with beloved grandma who passed away, 20 years ago. I was thinking of it yesterday. I was like, this guy says ghosts don't exist, right? Ghosts most certainly do not exist. I promise you. And then you relate to him a story of how you heard in the news yesterday, this guy he was traveling down the interstate and he saw a ghost. Just jumped out in front of his car. Well, what did he do? Obviously, he slammed on his brakes as hard as he possibly could without thinking about anything else, because he was just reacting to the ghost. And then the car behind him did what? Well, he just went ahead and smacked into the guy who saw the ghost. Did the guy behind the guy that saw the ghost also see the ghost? I don't know. Was there an accident that occurred because of a ghost? Yeah. So did the ghost exist? I don't know. What do you think? That's enough for now. Hope everybody's doing well. Peace.